Well, thank you guys. I know you guys are busy. Obviously, with the tournament coming up and our basketball team just winning the conference championship, the in-season championship, it's awesome. It's an awesome time to be on campus right now. I know you guys are over visiting with Coach Rice. That is tremendous. It was an awesome game the other night, and really proud and just to be able to see what Coach Rice has done with the basketball team and how he's grown that team over the course of the year, and we're excited to see how they finish as well. We appreciate you guys stopping by today to start off the spring kickoff 2022. We just completed our winter conditioning training cycle, 8 weeks. So we've had 8 weeks of strength and conditioning as well as football school, improving on our knowledge of the game, both from a terminology standpoint, fundamental technical standpoint within the classrooms, and building into our schemes, which will lead to situational football. So we're excited about the growth, not only mentally, but obviously physically within the strength and conditioning component of the last 8 weeks. The focus leading up to spring ball in this first cycle in the winter conditioning is always about the mental and physical development. This game is a very, very competitive sport that requires toughness, and so early on in these phases, if we don't create a great foundation with the ability to compete based off of certain habits and skills, it's going to be tough down the road. The players have done a tremendous job pouring themselves and applying their focus to the things that the team has agreed upon that we need to do a better job of, and that we did a better job of down the stretch last season, and growing off of those things as we move forward. The consistency is everything. The consistency is everything. So couple things that we focus on in the winter conditioning from a mental side is just our purpose, our commitment to the team, how we're working each and every day. It'll lead to our accountability for the team and being a team member, and it'll allow us to compete more consistently at a high level. And the players have done that through the training sessions with Coach Kagi and our strength and conditioning staffs. From that standpoint, we had some unity games too during the winter time, which there's 10 teams, and each full-time coach is a coach on one of those 10 teams, as well as an assistant, a GA or a QC. And what it entails is different competitions, physical competitions, mental competitions, but the winner prevailed after 4 weeks during the winter conditioning session, which these would take place every Friday morning at 6 a.m. And the winner of this year's Winter Games was Coach Boniface's team number 9. So we're excited about the way not only they competed, but how everybody competed, teaching ourselves how to work together, how to be accountable to doing our job, working in smaller groups and smaller units, and figuring out how to get things done. From a physical standpoint, development is huge. We talked about it's a physical game. It's a physically demanding game. Being able to develop how explosive we are, our ability to change direction, which requires flexibility, and being very mindful of our mobility. Our ability to sustain high outputs and high speeds in terms of running through the course of a whole practice, so that we can compete and train at a certain level that we're going to be required to play at. When it comes to practice, our primary focus is this spring, number one, to compete, to build an environment of competition each and every day that is going to allow us to grow in these areas. Building dependable depth, as we always talk about, especially in the fronts. We've got we got 11 new guys, not just in the front, but we got 11 new guys that joined the team in January. Bringing them in, getting them around the veterans, and making sure that they understand how we do things and how we're going to compete every single day. Establishing the run game on both sides of the ball, creating explosives and eliminating explosives for the defense. Big part of spring ball, too, is our situational awareness, not only for the players but for coaches and us all working together, whether that's backed up all the way across the field into the 4 down, the red zone, the high, the low, into the goal line, and obviously the 2-point opportunities that present themselves with the rules of what college football is today. all the way into down and distance situations and what fits us best and how we operate in mixed downs, first and second downs, third and shorts, third and longs, mediums, fourth down scenarios. Where is our honey hole in terms of 4-down scenarios, and what are we efficient at executing? Clock situations are always a huge deal as well. Taken from NFL experiences, college experiences, our own experiences last year, and building those into our practices so we can maximize the opportunities we get to practice certain situational football. At the end of the day, spring ball has always been and will always be about competition, development, and growth. At every single position, every position, there will be a competition. Every single day, it will be evaluated. We'll provide feedback, opportunities and ways to grow, and for players to improve their roles, as well as for us as coaches. Spring ball is an unbelievable opportunity for us to fine-tune what it looks like, where we're at, figure out where we're at as we move into summer when we conclude spring ball, and where we need to grow in the summertime leading into fall camp. That being said, I'm going to hit you guys with a quick list so you guys know when you're out there at the beginning of practices, the players that will not participate in spring ball due to postseason surgeries. Okay, I'm going to hit you guys on this list so you guys are aware if you see them out there and they're not in. We're going to update you now, and then we'll leave it at that all the way through the rest of the spring ball. So guys that will not participate, okay? Jai Jones, Roman Kafense, Ben Dooley, OJ, Mike Callahan, Jackson Cravens, Shane Irwin, Nohe, Markel, Tubes, and Riley Smith. They will be participating in certain things off to the side that they're able to do with their rehab, post-surgery rehabs, in efforts to keep them on schedule to be back in the summertime as we start our second phase. Guys that will be slightly modified, and in most cases it's non-contact situations that we want to keep these guys in, but guys that have come off, some of these guys are postseason season surgeries. Some of them are guys that had surgery during the season that now are far enough along in their recovery that they can get work, just not all of it. So Hank will participate, be in the position he plays. Nobody touches him anyway, so he is non-contact, but Hank will participate and be slightly modified in everything we do after a postseason lower half surgery. Isaiah Bradford is coming off a shoulder from last year. He'll be able to participate in certain non-contact situations. And Tyneil Hopper will be slightly modified as we start for a few days here. Guys that that are on track to return post-spring break, so the back half of spring ball. Garrett Curran, Andy Nwaku, J.L. Skinner, we got a soft tissue deal we're working through. He'll be limited to really no contact early on, and we just got to progress forward as it allows. Dallas Holiday is a day-to-day as we start spring ball, and Isaiah Bagnaw with the soft tissue, we're hoping to his recovery will continue to be on pace to allow him to do stuff off to the side the beginning of spring ball, and hope to get him back after spring break. That being said, as you guys know, it is always in the student athlete's best interest to make sure that we handle the recovery processes appropriately to get them prepared to ultimately so that they can train and develop to prepare themselves to compete during the season. We're excited about Donald Rich joining our program. In the short time he's been here, he's done a phenomenal job building the trust, getting to know the players, engaging the players. He brings a wealth of experience and knowledge in the field that has a huge part of the success of our football program, being that this is tackle football, and there is an unbelievable physical element that goes with this game, and it requires a certain preparation to be able to do it each and every day. So we're extremely excited about Donald and what he has already brought to our program and what he'll continue to bring to that space within our facility. That being said, we'll open it up for questions.
Coach, just big picture, you go 7-5 last year. I mean, just the bowl game, happened, didn't happen. Just how motivated, how much of that chip is back on the shoulder of these guys going into spring ball?
They've trained like they missed out on Christmas last year, like they didn't get anything. They've trained like that, and we'll continue to work that way throughout the entirety of our off season. And the beautiful thing about it now is the guys are leading it. We got a certain, what I mean by that, we missed out on Christmas. We got a certain sense of gratitude now, and what it looks like and what we need to do and how we need to prepare. And, sometimes you got to go through situations like that to see the positives that come from it. And so we're really excited. Honestly, spring ball has showed up really fast here. We're excited that we're going to be able to get back on the field tomorrow morning and get going, see all the improvements, obviously work on all the things that we need to continue to grow into our program, whether it be X's and O's, our mentality, our ability to compete consistently.
Coach, you're going to be happy to have Hank out there, but Talon and Sam, they're probably competing for that number 2 spot. What do you want to see out of those guys this spring?
You know what, from that whole room in general, number one, that position comes with a whole lot of responsibility before you even get on the field. That's leadership. How they lead themselves, how they handle their own space, how they prepare themselves, how they help others get prepared. The competition doesn't start on the field, especially at that position. It starts building the relationships off the field, being able to help players get on the same page so that when we get on the field, we can maximize our opportunities and grow together faster. For the whole position group, the consistency in the decision-making is going to be huge. They touch the ball every single play and are obviously a huge factor of how games can go each way. So building in the confidence to make those decisions, having the whereabouts to understand what those decisions are being made off of, and rep those situations over and over again. We want to see that from that whole room. We want to see that continue to grow. We want to see the ability to respond on the field. There is going to be a lot of competition, as we spoke about in spring ball. We want to see the quarterbacks be able to lead, within those competition settings.
With that being limited, do you see those guys getting a few more reps with the starters this spring?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, Hank's going to be good. No one touches the quarterback anyway. So he's going to be able to get the majority of the work that he would normally get. Rep-wise, it might need to just be modified a little bit as we progress him into, all the guys that aren't modified, the way they've been trained and where their loads and high-speed runnings are right now, they're ready to handle day one of spring ball like nothing. They're able to go a practice and a half, actually. Some of the guys that have been modified through the winter, through the 8-week winter strength and conditioning, that's where the reps become modified. So yes, if Hank is modified on reps, it's a great opportunity for Talon, and the rest of the quarterback, Sam, or whoever it may be, to jump in there and bump up the ladder there and operate with the first team, second team, whoever that may be.
Andy, we remember, last year was such a whirlwind for you at this time. How much better prepared do you feel going into spring ball? I don't know, better prepared is the right way to say that, but just more settled going into spring ball.
No, that's a great question. On multiple layers, different departments of this building, whether it be the players, the coaches, myself, we're in a whole different place than we were last year at this point. A whole different place. From the standpoint of, it's year number 2. And certain mentors said it would take 18 months, which you never want to hear. You don't want it to take that long. But we already see the place we're at, not only from the standpoint of the organization, the flow of the organization, how people are operating in the organization, which ultimately has an impact on the development of the players and their ability to compete.
Speaking of that, last year you just get in, you've got so many new coaches, and really you probably just got to teach a lot. In year 2, is there less teaching and more the guys kind of know what they're doing and you can progress a little quicker?
So the teaching never stops. The learning never stops for all of us. Constantly learning, constantly teaching. We spent a ton of time learning this off season, again, on multiple levels. Big organization pieces, offense, defense, special teams pieces, all the way down to the fundamentals and techniques that are going to make the schemes. The biggest difference being is we got structure in place. We're able to build off of that foundation that we were talking about last year now. Those bricks are laid. The players understand what it looks like. The players understand what it took to build this place and what it looks like going forward for us to continue. And they're leading it now. And so from that standpoint, much like everybody else in the building, not only the players, the staff, myself, the pace of which we're able and we should be able to compete and move forward is much greater because the structure's in place.
Coach, you got a 4-year starter quarterback, certainly a luxury. I remember Peterson saying he could do stuff with Kellen year 4 that he couldn't with other younger players. How much you guys putting on Hank this year going into the season and starting at spring ball?
Yeah, you talk about when they come in here as freshmen, you're talking about 101s and, English 101. You're taking all those classes on campus now too. Your 4th year in college, you're going to be up in the 350s, 360s, and so on. It's the same in the football classroom up here. For us as coaches, we got to be able to teach the different levels of the audience within the room. It's a beauty to have 11 guys come in at the semester on top of the freshmen from last fall who did come in and experience, obviously, different conditions with the COVID protocols and how many people can you have in a meeting room and all those things, to now where we're at, where we're much closer back to what it was before. So what brings with that is having different levels of students in our rooms, and how are we going to serve each one what they need as us being the leaders, because that's what leadership is. How are we going to give this quarterback this, make sure we're not overwhelming him with the 350 level information, and you know what Hank's going to do, he's going to get bored in there with the 101 level information. That's the beauty of being a teacher, is being able to serve each student, and that's also meeting at different times sometimes. It just that's the fun in it in spring ball too, because everybody needs to grow and develop.
What are your couple areas, Coach, that whether it be because of roster turnover or just not being good enough last year, I mean, is there a position or two or an area that in these 15 practices you want to see take a big jump, or do you want to see some maybe questions start to get answered at?
Well, like we said in the opening statements, it's both sides of the ball. That's where up front, that's where football starts. You can run the ball on offense. You can protect the quarterback. We can stay on track in the passing game. That helps us get out in front of the sticks, stay on track. Obviously, defensively, on the other side of the ball, winning up front, being able to stop the run, being able to pressure the quarterback. Those are the big factors that we see, not only in the college level game, but in the NFL too. That's what wins. The explosiveness and the consistency, within the pass game. And not only designing and implementing and organizing the proper schemes that fit us and that our players are comfortable with, but getting the timing right where the efficiency of that execution is high.
You mentioned the run game in your opening statement. How much emphasis and how much work are you going to do on the run game in the spring so it's productive in September as opposed to November? And what role does Ashton play this spring?
Yeah, I mean, starting off with the run game, that starts being able to practice a certain way, okay? Obviously train a certain way. We don't just show up to practice, number one, a spring ball, and think that we're going to have the ability to compete physically up front on both sides of the ball. That starts with the training 8 weeks ago. How we're building our core strength, our foundational strength that leads to our explosiveness. And we've recruited enough depth where we can train, we can practice a certain way that we were practicing at the end of the year when we were able to get some guys back and develop some guys to be able to compete at practice a certain way. From that standpoint, we're in a whole different position than we were last year where, I mean, I'll be honest with you, half of spring ball practices last year, half of the team reps were 7-on-7 due to a lack of depth. So it's a huge benefit for us to be able to recruit a certain way and not just build our depth in the summer and the fall, but to build it in the spring. Ashton will have a huge impact too in competing at that position. He's shown to be extremely explosive, very knowledgeable, and able to pick up the offense very quickly. Oh no, sorry, I forgot to answer. That's my bad.
With the offense last year, I feel like throughout the season you guys kind of tailored it to play to your strengths. Tim, when he first got here,
Well, I think in this game, it is always about personnel. They're the ones out there playing. It's about personnel. Us being able, we have a philosophy. There's things we want to do. We have to tailor that to our personnel and what we do best. Being able to have a consistent spring and a consistent fall camp, you know, that's number one, our purpose and how we show up every day and how we compete, right? The other part of that, there are still protocols set in place that we got to handle that doesn't derail our practice schedule, our progression through the spring or through the fall. In doing that, we can get a better idea of our team this year and what we do best and build that consistency. Now it's on us as coaches to be able to adapt and adjust like we did in the middle of the year last year to what we do best. Much like on defense, we want to be multiple with our fronts. We want to be multiple within our coverages. We want to be multiple on offense in terms of tempos, formations, and those different things. But at the end of the day, it is all about what the players do best.
Coach, you mentioned some situational awareness this spring. Is there one or two areas where you want to improve the most, whether it's red zone, third down conversions, anything like that?
All of them. No, those are honestly, that's the fun part of football. Once we get through our initial installs, in the first few practices, there's a lot of scripted offense, defense. It's all lined out situationally. First and second downs, third and mediums, it's already scripted. Up to practice number 3 is already scripted. We already know what we're going to do on day number 3 in the team period number 2 when it's third and medium. We already know what we're doing today. Where we progress to quicker if we stay on track is not scripting as much and being able to put the ball down in certain situations and play it. That's where the value of being able to stay on track and have the depth of practice a certain way, but stay on track too with all the COVID protocols so we don't get thrown off that progression. It's great for everybody. It's great for the players that played on the field. It's great for us as coaches to be able to work together on the sideline and to work through all those situations, to be able to split up the squad and make 2 teams and it not always be offense against defense. We need an offense and a defense to learn how to work together, and an offense and a defense to learn how to work together, and then to go compete on the field. And we have enough depth in spring to be able to do those things.
The offensive coordinator for fans is an easy target when they don't score 50 points a game or whatever. How do you evaluate year one of Tim Plow and what you thought you were getting when you came in here, and how do you see what he can be moving into year 2 for the offense?
Yeah, there's no question. We've already talked about a lot of that, and I again, in the middle of the year there, we had to sit down and do a deep dive in that bye week about what are we doing efficiently and what are we not doing efficiently. And some of that we need to keep, and we need to find a better way to do it and to make it efficient. Some of it we need to get rid of. And at the end of the day, they're scoring 50 points a game isn't always going to be the reality of it. Winning the game is the most important deal, and doing it as a team. And what I would say about Coach Plow is he did an unbelievable job down the stretch, figuring out who we were and what he was going to do to put us in position to help the team win. No different than the quarterback, no different than the left guard, no different than the tight end. And so as we go into year number 2, we've obviously had a couple months here, given the time after the season and the bowl prep too, 3 months where we've had time to be able to sit down and identify areas that we need to continue to keep growing, where we can build off of what we've done and really tailor it to who we are and what our team is.
What did you learn about being a head coach after you?
Well, obviously there's multiple hats being worn. As a defense coordinator, you get about half of it. And so being able to, again, create structure and put things into place and allow people to go execute their role, whether it be from an operational standpoint, an external standpoint, obviously an internal standpoint, offense, defensively, things that are going on in this building. That was the experience, obviously, that I got last year, is going through and not waiting till spring was over, not waiting till the summer was over, not waiting till the season was over to sit back and look like, well, okay, what can we do better? But constantly having the awareness to learn on the move and adapt and adjust to the things. How much time are we spending, on the external, which is a big part. This is a huge operation. How much time are we spending on the internal operation of football and everything that goes along with that? We got an equipment department. We got a medical department. We got a strength and conditioning. We got a recruiting. We got video. And the list goes on and on. And so being able to create structure within the first year, be able to provide a vision and let people go compete too that are leading those different areas. There was a lot of learning, a lot of growth in those areas. And again, where we stand today is way different than where we were last year, in an understanding for not only the players that compete, but of all of us to be able to compete within our roles that we have.
Andy, what's been the most exciting aspect of off-season workouts up until this point?
The competitions, the unity group competitions, I would say were a highlight. During them, sometimes they weren't necessarily a highlight when it was 15 degrees outside and we were outside at 6:30. But I think you guys have seen the schedule and where we're going to be at late in the year, and we're just counting on snow and excited for that opportunity when we go up north late in the year. So if we're going to play in it and be in that weather, we're going to need to train in it. So those unity group competitions, those were exciting. I'll be honest with you, just being able to see, from strength and conditioning drills that were filmed last year at this time, and being able to see what those same strength and conditioning drills look like this year, this time, it would get you excited. I think Dale our equipment guy, referred to last year's as slow motion compared to what we look like this year. That's not a knock to anybody or what we were doing or anything like that, but just excitement for how the players have trained, how they develop, and the job that our strength and conditioning staff has done with the guys. Now it's the coach's turn to go help make the next jump for the program here in spring ball. Always. Always.
It seemed like last year, George was always trying to play catch up. He couldn't really quite get in a groove, and when he finally did, we saw what he's capable of. How much will it help him and the team grow? I mean, now that this whole focus doesn't need to be on just getting him healthy, it can be on evolving and playing to his strengths and whatnot. How much will it help you guys this spring having him?
Well, I think the growth that comes from that and his learning experience is he takes care of his body a certain way, his body's going to take care of him. And not only him, but the team, right? So that's a huge learning experience too, because it goes back to our purpose. How are we getting ourselves ready to compete every single day? We can't just show up, roll the ball out there, and go get it. We can't. So from the standpoint of not only his maturity, but overall as a team, we didn't have any training exercises today, Jay. There was nothing. There was no lifting. There was no running. We had some meetings to get ourselves ready for tomorrow. But today was about a day where the players needed to get in there and take care of their bodies on their own. And that's a difference from what it was last year. So that guys like George can compete consistently throughout the course of the year. And that's a big deal. Donald leading that. Kegi leading that. Being proactive and understanding what it takes to be an elite competitor. Sorry, go ahead and then yep.
You look at the staff, especially on the defensive side, you got so many guys with coordinator experience, even head coaching experience. What benefit is that to you and what benefit is that to the players?
Well, from the standpoint, when you get in that room, you got to be on point. You sit in that room, you got to be on point. There's a lot of experience, there's a lot of knowledge in there, which is awesome. The beautiful thing about it, too, is the humility that is in that room. I mean, it's a joy to go in there and talk football. It's a blessing to go in there. You learn so much every day. We work to get on the same page to create what is best for the players, ultimately. That's the most important thing. The standards are going to be extremely high on both sides of the ball, on special teams. But to have that wealth of experience in that room now, not only from the standpoint of X's and O's, but these the coaches that have come here have done this for a while. They have families. They've moved around. They understand what it looks like to be in transition, to be able to handle your family, to take care of your family, to grow your family into this new environment. And obviously we're all in, hands-on on helping our new coaches and families come in, but also how to handle their profession while doing so. And they've done a remarkable job. Now it's time to take it to the grass as we start practice number 1.
And, you know, just a comment on Khalil Shakir, speaking of family, you know, he's working out today with all the other receivers. The type of attention that you and the staff pay, and how big a look can that be for your program when you have guys working out in front of a lot of people today, like Shaq is?
It's a big deal. It's been on my offense since I got here this morning. It's a big deal. How hard, well, number one, what he means to this place as a person. We want to see him succeed. We want to see all, whether it's in football or whatever it is. But to have that opportunity for Shaq to go out there and create new opportunities for himself at the next level is unbelievable. He's worked tremendously hard. He's a guy that, has shown tremendous humility. He was a big part of our growth in how we were able to finish last year. And, he's the type of player that when we needed a big play, he was there. But he was also the type of player that wasn't counting how many times he was targeted. And he specifically told Coach Plow in the BYU game, don't worry about how much I'm getting the ball. Keep doing what you're doing. That's the type of man Khalil is. And, a lot of times when these processes start for the NFL on the next level, the NFL wants to know who these young men are, not on the field. They're going to watch the film. They're going to come to practice. They want to know who they are off the field, how they operate, what kind of people are they fun to be around, what kind of teammates are they. And I think that exemplifies kind of the person he is, and that's why not only him, but Kala too, how much we want to see him succeed and the rest of the guys, Danny Cantrell, and the list goes on and on.